Thanks for joining us for another episode of DermTube Daily Coverage. I'm Joel Cohen. I'm a dermatologist in metropolitan Denver, and with us is Dr. Kent Remington, who practices up in Calgary and has been really focusing his practice for many years on aesthetic injectables and laser therapies. So thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks, Joel.
So you've done a lot of work about reflation of the face and volumetric restoration. Can you tell us about your approach, meeting with patients, and really how you talk to them about volume?
Well, years ago we decided the word volumizing that was fairly popular was difficult because patients thought that if you injected anything in their face it created volume, and most people don't want volume. So what we started working with is reflation, because we all sink, sag, and wrinkle on the planet Earth, and deflation creates issues for patients, and that we're trying to reflate them, not inflate them.
Spending time with you and working together on various projects, I think we all learned from each other's approach. And you have patients typically bring in a picture of themselves from many years ago. Can you tell us how this leads your aesthetic enhancements?
Well, the aesthetic consult for me is much different than a consult for regular dermatology. It's much more involved, and you try to connect and engage with the patient and find the real reason why they want to look better, not just the stated reason. So one of the things I assign them is to bring in a photo in their 20s. I'm not trying to make them look 20, but I want to see previous balance and harmony and symmetry or lack of. And also it gets the patient involved. They can't help but hold the photo in the mirror themselves, and we scan that and put it with their current photo, and I split the face and then show them. It helps them understand why we want to treat the whole face.
So in my practice, I think using a photo really helps understand what the baseline anatomy has been like. So if somebody doesn't have a history of having really fuller lips, we're really not able to get to a point where you can enhance the lips to any significant degree. You can accentuate little areas and projection points and tubercles, but I really show them from a scale perspective. We're not going to get to a grade 3 or a grade 4 type of full-bodied lip. How do you use those pictures for?
Oh, I agree, because the genetics, we try to, now in America, we have this change of colors with all the intermarriages, so we have 320 plus million people that are totally different genetically. So you try to match their genetics with what they're looking like now. And with the lips, most people, anytime you mention lips, their pulse goes up because they have that fear of having large lips. So you're absolutely right. You want to create the lips they used to have. It's a form really of biomimicry. You're trying to mimic what those lips looked like 10 years ago. So they just want their lips back.
So in our practices a decade ago, we typically handed people a mirror and said, what bothers you? And now I think we've evolved to taking a picture and looking at that picture. But patients see themselves differently. I think really with the fact that people are Skyping and FaceTiming every day, they see different things, and they're able to see their face in different positions or different animations, and they know specifically what bothers them. How have some of these more advanced areas changed in your practice?
I love the selfies, because they bring these selfies in and they say, I can't believe I look like this. So it's really helpful to step back and take a professional photo and then try to show them. We have a dedicated camera room, so I can show them on the monitor easier than a mirror. But we've never really seen ourselves except for reflection in a mirror or in a photo. So patients' perception of reality and reality are often different. So I try to have reality, show them what we can do and what we can't do, and we're trying to just create the youthful look. So we tell our patients if they've had Botox and fillers, and somebody says, oh, we had Botox and fillers, we're a failure. They should just look amazing without looking done.
So we certainly don't want our patients to look quite, quote, injected. And, you know, a lot of this volumetric restoration and reflation and really hitting the high points has helped us. So in Canada, you've had certain products a lot longer than we've had. You've had Voluma for 3 or 4 years before we had it. You had Wrinkle and Silk for probably 15 years before we had it. So really, how do you advise some of the Americans and the physicians out there that are starting to inject these products or have less experience injecting these products about the long-term applicability of these injectables?
Well, I think it behooves all of us to understand that all the HA fillers have unique personalities, and some of the fillers behave like princesses and some behave like delinquent adolescents. So you have to understand the viscosity, the stiffness, the cohesiveness, plasticity, elasticity, all those things are important. Plus the rheology, the needles and syringes aren't created equal. So all those things take an important role in where you're going to place these fillers. Plus needles versus cannulas, where we use with them and where we don't. And
yeah, I think it's exciting that we have a lot more in our portfolio to offer to patients, and we really understand that we become accustomed to developing preferences in different areas or just specifics about injection techniques in certain areas. So we appreciate you joining us, and thank you all for joining us for another DermTube Daily coverage from Maui Derm.